Welcome to this Zentangle Quickie. My name is Heather Hartwick Gladden. I'm a certified Zentangle teacher, and today we're going to take a look at the tangle eyes from CZT Mary D'Angelo. Now, yes, I kept wanting to call it A's. Could be A yes if you. But then I'm like, oh no. When I read the story behind the tangle and the inspiration, which is in the description section, where it says for more inspiration from the creator of this tangle, that's where you will find that link, which besides the story behind the tangle includes the step out and Mary's beautiful samples and all of that. So do take a look, because I kept wanting to call it A's, and I'm like, oh no, it should be I, right? Okay, so anyway, this is a grid pattern, and I decided in my version of the step out to take a little bit different process with it. And what I did was to make one box. And because we're doing that a lot now, right, with fragments and things, it's like, here's a box, and then you can arrange it however you want, and that's fine. And this one, though, it doesn't matter which way you slice it, it's always going to turn out the same way. But I thought it might be easier to see what we're doing in each step to do it this way. Yeah, but but for today, we'll do a 4-square grid. But I just wanted to let you know that, so that way you see. Okay, let's divide this in half. And in half again. Because, I mean, honestly, as you know, let's just see. Yeah, when I was looking at the pattern, I don't know, it just struck me. It's like, oh, wait, we could just do one box. It took me a couple minutes to figure that out, but I did. And so if it helps, great. If not, if that makes it more confusing, which I don't think it will, but that we always have the backup of going to look at the Tangle Creators sample. Okay. So, and I wanted to do it in a grid, so that way, because there's some points in doing it with the grid, but here's what we'll do. We'll get the best of both worlds. I kept talking because I'm like, wait a minute, I didn't think this through as I was doing it. So our first step is obviously the grid. So whatever your size your grid is, I'm covering this up so you can see it's just a box with an X in it. Sometimes when you look at it in the bigger scheme of things, it's like, what is that? I don't know about you. I do that. It could just be me. All right, so what we're going to do first is on each side, and like I said, I'm going to just focus on this box. We're going to put a little triangle. I tried to line it up. Actually, to line it up, you could, and you know me, I like to eyeball things. Could just eyeball and then go from the center. That seems to be working out to both sides like that. And we are going to fill that in. I don't know which was harder, doing this on the small scale or on the big scale. Because as I was doing it, because on my little boxes on my template are about a bijou size. I'll tell you, it's interesting that sometimes things that seem like they're harder to do when you do them on a big scale, even though it's kind of, less steps. It's just interesting. All right, then from here, once you have those, then we're going to make a big C-shaped curve line, not quite touching the sides, but if you do it slow like that, you want to get it close. But that's about it. And this one, for sure, keep turning the tile, makes it a lot easier. And you'll find whatever, there's always a way that your hand likes it, and it works good to work with your hand. Okay, this next step, not that I had a little bit of trouble with it, but yeah, it was interesting step. So what we're gonna do is, well, let me just do it first with one. So we're doing 2 C-shaped curve lines right here like this on, to either side of that peak. So you can come down. I keep trying to aura this one first. That seems to be working the best. So that way also I have room. I don't know, for some reason that, like I said, keeps working well for me. It's like when I do that though, I want to, it's like I want to start it right in the middle. Or that's where I want my pen to start. I don't know. It's an interesting stroke, and my pen just doesn't necessarily, I use my pen as an excuse. That one's good. I say all these things in the hopes that if you're having a challenge, that something I say is going to go, oh yeah, that's the problem I'm having. I apologize to those that might think that it's annoying. Or I should say, sorry, not sorry. It's the way I am. Oh, all right. And then in the center, we're going to put just big rounding on those corners. And it's so funny, because as I was doing this like this, and I went, oh, I should do these corners too. And then as I looked at the bigger picture, it's like, oh no, nope, it's just these two where there's 4 lines crossing, not where there's more than. Oh, good, because that, I didn't seem to like it as I was doing it, and then I'm like, oh well, there's a reason, because we're not doing that. Okay, so there is one box. I do highly recommend, if you're doing it on a larger grid, just do each step, in each box. This one I think you can do well with that. There are some tangles though that I have to do each box individually, and that's just the way it works for me. But this one I think you could do all the rest. So for the rest of it, I'll take each step at a time. But this way you can see this is what the one singular box looks like. And honestly, this could be cool. I mean, if you did it, big, you could just do the one box, and that could be rather neat. All right, so what's neat is once you get one side done, then we're going to take that side. So I'm just going to do the diamond. So we're just going back to step 1, right? So this one will match up. The rest of them, we're starting fresh. So again, just eyeballing, that center. And I start from the middle and work my way down each side, and then we'll fill it in. Now, the nice thing, because this part is filled in, if for some reason you accidentally miss, then at least you can fill it in and it's fine. All right. Then it's the big C-shaped curve lines. Now here, let's say I'm going to do it this way so that way I can line up here. And so I guess this is really what I wanted to point out, is all of the places where you get to be, where you want to be careful. So that was like, oh, I can line those up. The rest of them, like on this one, it's like, nope, we get to start from scratch. So whatever happens, happens. It's like, you're trying to be consistent, but sometimes it just doesn't work out. Okay. And then again, same thing here. And I'm going to start here. So we're just, to either side of that peak of that diamond here. And then I'm going to carefully line it up with that. Same thing here. Line it up. Same thing. Same thing. And I don't know why you could, of course, make a big orb, crossing the lines. That's fine. This too probably could, but I didn't find myself. Sometimes I'll have that urge. I'm like, yeah, that's way easier. And I don't know why on this one I just didn't. So. Because, hey, I'm all about if we can make something easier, yes. And I think it looks just fine, too. Because sometimes, I mean, like here, there's a little teeny bit of a bump. It's not too bad. You know, in the orbs. Well, you know what, though? You could get, well, I don't know. It just depends. Depends on how you do. All right. So there we've got 1/2. All right. And we'll keep going here. Oh, wait. I said I was going to do each step and I didn't. My apologies. Maybe we'll see if I can work that through on this side. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. Y'all are probably sitting there going, what? She said she was going to do each. So we're just going to start with the diamonds first. All right, let's try again. I got two more spaces. Which also proves the point. It doesn't matter. Whatever works good for you, do it. It's all fine. Oh my gosh. You know what started it was coloring that in, and then I just went from there. And then my mouth is going, so then my brain isn't thinking. Okay, so now, brain, we're going to finish these two like this. All right. And then filament. Well, maybe in some way, shape, or form, it's easier to see it this way, half and half. Oh, that'll be, okay, there, that's my excuse. As if I didn't just say, oh, I said I was going to do that, but. Actually, as I'm doing this, I'm thinking, if I didn't fill those in, it could be interesting to kind of do filling things in differently. For instance, I'll just finish this so that way I finish it. For instance, if I left all of those open and then did all of the filling in afterwards, because here's what I'm thinking. Maybe not where this is. Oh, and I forgot that in the middle there. So like, okay, so this is filled in here, and then I fill in these two sides, and then maybe just this. And so you kind of have that alternate, filled in, not filled in on either side, alternating. That could be neat. Just a thought that popped into my head. Okay, now let's do these. Big C-shaped curve line. And the other advantage of doing it this way is that you do all of them on the side where your hand is comfortable. Oops, I touched, but that's okay. I did it again. And as we know, it's okay. That way it's not the I'm flipping the tile every 2 seconds. And then also you can get more of the meditative, I'm sorry, you can't even see. The more of the meditative benefit from having the repetition. Okay, got all those. Oh, might as well just start right here. Okay, so yeah, because I kept looking at this particular stroke and I'm like, ooh, how am I gonna get that to fit in just as nicely as she has it? And I think that's why thinking of aura-ing this side seemed to help. And then it's like, okay, I have my point and I'll just bring it down with a little curve and it's all good. And so what's interesting is, and here, this is a good reason um, why you might want to do it in the halves like that. Because as I was looking at this, I'm like, wait a minute, I'll just do like that. But I'm like, oh, they're not all on the same direction. They all are going over the line. So of course you could, if you wanted to, do it fully. My thought is you might run the risk of having it go in the wrong direction. Not that that's bad or the end of the world if it happens. Of course, it doesn't matter. But it might be safer to just do it like this, each half at a time. Because you're doing it and you're going towards the line, the edge of each grid box. Like that. And two, I'm noticing if I just would stick with doing like the orating this, because if you haven't noticed, sometimes I'll do this side first. Well, okay, never mind. I just blew my own theory. I'm like, oh, well, they come out a little bit even. This one's for sure didn't. And I did this where I was starting here, orating the outside, and then coming down. Yeah, it doesn't. Well, maybe we could throw it this way. The likelihood of having them be a little more uniform might be greatly increased if you do it, oraing that side, doing it consistently one way or the other. Okay, now let's get this last bit in, which I missed on that first one, which is to do big rounding of those corners. And again, it's just where the 4 lines meet, not where you have all of the other ones. Which honestly makes it a little bit easier, because when I was playing with it, I'm like, oh, why am I having such a hard time getting that to fit in there comfortably? And it doesn't make any sense why it shouldn't, because there's almost equal distance, from the orb to the intersection. But I like the way it turns out. Whoa, whoa, like that. Now, this one, for sure, which I should have, I could have paused. Take an eyeball break. Take a hand stretch break. Because when you're doing a lot of the same thing, it's like, yes, you can get lost in it. But then, yes, too, while you're getting lost in it, your eyes might be crossing. So it's just a good idea to take a minute, look across the room, focus your eyes on something else. Maybe look up. I heard this once. I forget who I was listening to. And I don't remember if it was to do with like computer work, but it was like, go take a walk outside or something every so often and just look up at the sky. And I just wonder if positioning your eyes up versus down when we're writing, or down if you're typing or something, if that helps in something. I'll have to do some looking. And I think I got everything. So that is it. Now, of course, I mentioned there's other ways you could decorate this, with filling in different sections. Also, lots of different ways that you could shade it. What I'm going to do is here's the 2 things that I'm thinking. Number 1 is you could just do the whole perimeter and leave it at that. And that is fine and well. And it depends on what, what your project is and what you like. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do it on, this would be on the diagonal lines, because what I don't want to do is I don't want to cross through anything, but almost treating these, like I did this in my version of the step out, and I liked how it looked. But I want to see it on an actual tile. Of course, you don't have to go over where it's already dark. Oh, I might as well do that and smudge it. And I put, as you see, I put the graphite kind of on both sides of the line. And then as I'm using the Tortillion, I just want to kind of have it spread out evenly-ish on both sides of that line. Like that. Oh, you could just do the one side if you wanted to. I'm not gonna. I want to do both sides. This is one of those things, that oh gosh, am I stuttering tonight? This is one of the reasons that I say, you can just ignore the black, obviously, because it's already dark and the graphite's not going to make any difference. But depending on what you're tangling on, like for instance, I'm using a Zentangle official tangle, a bijou tile, and the paper is like a cotton paper. And so when you have a section that's filled in really dark, and if it's wet, and when you bring over the Tortillion over it, sometimes it rips things up. So it'll bring up the paper, it'll bring up, it makes for a little bit of a mess. And so avoid that if you can. But there we go. I just think that makes it look interesting. It looks like actual tiles to me. Where they're, just kind of has that curved edge on it. So, like I said, there's tons of ways that you could have fun with this. This is just the way that I chose. So, have fun with it. I hope you enjoyed the video outside of my whatever, my brain is thinking on other things or something. And so words don't want to be coming out of my mouth today. So I apologize for that. But if you enjoyed the video outside of that, please click on the like button. And if you liked it enough to see more, would love to have you be a subscriber to the channel. In the description section, it's not ending, is it? No. You will find, as I mentioned, links to the step outs. Then below that is my link tree. So if you would like to come and tangle with me and a bunch of other tangle addicts online, would love to have you. On Thursdays, I do free sessions called Tangle Time. They're an hour. I do it twice a day, 11 a.m. and 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And it's a ton of fun. Then on Tuesdays, those classes generally have a fee. On the third Tuesday of the month, or thereabouts, actually this, at the time of this recording, this is 1st of April. Or actually, no, technically it's the 2nd of April as I'm looking at the clock. It's April and 2025. And I do have a schedule change that I have to make for our Tough Tangle Tuesday, which is the only free session on Tuesday. It is a lot of fun. It'll be on a different week because I do my very best to reschedule versus cancel. I think I've only canceled something maybe twice in like 5 years because I like to be consistent and, and it's fun and I enjoy doing this. So, but anyway, just to give you the idea, if you go to my website, again, link is in the link tree, then you'll see the types of classes I do. So I have links for that, links to follow me for the classes. So that way you'll see when they're posted and you will see them in your time zone. Also there to highlight, we have a Tangle Addicts community on Facebook, and such wonderful people in this community. They are absolutely amazing. And so it's a nice, safe place where you can come share your work, and just have fun. And I hope you will join us there. If you decide to, when you click the link, there are 4 questions that you have to answer. And I do this so that way I do my best to ensure that people are there because they want to be there, not because they want to spam everybody or, what other trouble people like to get into or cause. And it seems to do pretty well with that. So that's why I have that. Plus, it kind of gives you an idea of what we're about and, and stuff. So, all right. I think that is it. I will quit talking at this point. And just by the way, because I haven't said it in a while, I don't, unless it's something really, 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 really bad, which is usually like if I mispronounce something, I do these in one take. No messing around, especially if I do something and my pen decides to go south on me and it's like, well, no, we're not going to do what you say. I'm doing what I want. And things go awry. And, if you've watched, if you watch regularly, but I just keep going. And then, then we have a little bit of a lesson in course correction, and how there is no such thing as a mistake in Zentangle. But I one take, that's it. Because I like to be real, and that's the best way that I can do it. So, and every once in a while, I let you know that by, stuttering every other word or mispronouncing stuff. It's more fun when I'm making up words on purpose. That's more fun. All right, so with that, thank you again so much for watching, and I wish you happy tangling.